Hello everyone and welcome back to KitbashCarnage. So today we're going to take a look at where we left off with the Chaos Squat Bike conversion thing we were doing. So this is where we left off. We ended up sticking the chain and stuff around. We stuck the logos there in the wheels, the molds that we done on the wheels. And we kind of stuck the popsicle stick stuff on top there just to create a little shelf. So what I was thinking about doing with the shelf there is sticking some uh, crafted kind of put together exhaust pipes on the back there. So we're just gonna cut this plastic straw that I found in the press, and there it goes, flying across the room. Well, give me a I'll go get that in a minute. So I'll just cut another bit off, and we'll cut these to equal length, and then we'll make our wee exhausts that we're going for. And we'll just get out a bit there, and we'll use our snips here just to make sure we have a smooth surface area, just in order to create a good firm bond between the popsicle stick wood bit there we have and the plastic itself. So I'm just using the snips here just to make it more of a rounded shape. While we were cutting the pieces off, it ended up squeezing it together there, and it didn't make it unrounded the shape that we wanted. So we're just using it there just to squeeze it together, make it a bit more rounded. So we went and got our Dremel here. So Dremel, for anyone who doesn't know, most people will know, or some people might know, a Dremel is basically like a handheld drill. So a small little drill that you can put attachments onto, drill bits, sandpaper, cutting bits, and so on and so forth. So this is just a Dremel here that I got off a website, quite just a cheap Dremel. So we'll put this drill piece in, and we'll use this just to create some small holes in the plastic straw in order to make the illusion of holes in an exhaust pipe, if that makes sense. So just make sure this is tightened up here before we use it, and make sure, safety first everyone, use safety eye protection or anything else that you may seem fit. I try to use as much precautions as I can while I do these videos. To my extent, I trust myself to a certain extent. So, but don't do as I don't. Don't be like me, everybody. Use the safety equipment. Play smart. Use your head here. Uh, we don't want no accidents happening. So as you can see, it's the drill. This is why it's safety first, everyone, because the drill bit kind of skips a little bit. So this has just got to do with the fact of it being so round. You can stop this by punching little center punch holes in before you drill, or you could sand it before you drill with a rough sand, just to kind of roughen up the area that you're before you drill, so it's not as smooth and the drill bit slips off. These are just little things you can implement to help. You can also put the piece in a vise, so you're not even holding it. But these are just all stuff that you can implement to help the process. So as you see here, I'm just smoothing off the edges, the exterior edges, for when the plastic pushed out from them holes. Just making sure that it's not rough, like it's not roughed off. And then I'm putting the actual plastic at a roughly about a 45-degree angle to the nail file there, or the sanding paper, and I'm just filing away, sanding away there until I get a rough 45-degree angle, which will then sit flush to the popsicle stick piece of wood that we have there, and that will create that angle of the exhaust that we're looking for. So here I just took the two pieces together, quickly going over them, while they're beside each other to make sure that they're both level. And then I'm just taking any extra flashing and any extra overhang away here to just to clean it up that little bit more. So you can see here, this is that 45-ish degree angle I was talking about. Roughly 45, could be 35 degrees for all I know. I didn't really measure it. But it's just a little angle just to give it a bit more character and definition in the actual model itself. It's little things like this, like adding exhaust pipes and cogs, spokes, all this type of stuff, gears to miniatures or any project that you're doing via vehicles or buildings, terrains, anything like that. The little details that some people may overlook. So I was trying to hold that together there, as you see, but found out very quickly that it's gonna take longer than me holding this here. So we'll quickly see that I figure out I need something to help me hold this up rather than my fingers and me sitting here for the next 10 minutes. So I'm trying to lean it at the angle I'm looking for with particular things. Just trying to make sure that it stays at that angle and it doesn't like fall down or it's not higher up, and just so the bond is that's created between the super glue and the plastic and then the wood is not my finger is an actual good bond, and having it at the correct angle that you filed it down to is the best way to do that, not having it off at any other angle, if that makes sense. I hope any of this makes sense to you guys. I really do. We just destroy everything. Here we go, destroying stuff. I hope when you guys try any of these techniques that I say, that you have a better time doing it than sometimes I do. So we're just adding a bit more glue here. You know what we say, more glue. So we just come back now after leaving this to rest for about 10 minutes. And as you see, we've got these exhaust pipes to stay in the position we wanted. And it's given us the look we were after. So next thing we have to do is figure out some more finer details. So it was around this part in the day I was just looking at what more can I add on to it. And then I ended up getting a message from a WhatsApp group that I'm in, got to do with the tabletop community in my area. And someone suggested to make it into like a lowrider, kind of like a squat bike, old school squat bike. So basically extend the handlebars and make it like more into a lowrider-ish bike, if that makes sense. You see what I mean here. So I'm just deciding where is the best place to cut the actual bars that are here holding the wheel, so I can extend them further but not lose some of the actual plastic or material that's here, because it looks good in proportion the way it is. So I'll just keep these bits here because it saves us from making a new connection point to the wheel. So I've noticed that they're a little bit loose, so we'll just get some super glue at some point and glue them in. And then this is the bits that they came off. So we're going to have to file these down and try to fit some type of the wooden skewer or something in there in order to create a firm, not bond, but a firm structure to then attach the wheel and the handlebars together again, so just to make them one piece. So as you see here, I'm just using a little bit of the nail file that I cut these nail files into little slivers just so I can get around corners and stuff much easier. So I'm just making sure that it's smooth, getting my snips out. As you can see, I'm cutting the opposite way that I previously cut this off with. So it's pinching it and making, as you see there, it's making more of a flat area. This this just stops me from having to file more and more off with the nail file, or sand more off, more material. That just speeds up the whole process. So we're just making sure these are smooth, flat surfaces, and then we're just going to go around the edges and take off any excess flashing or overhang that's on here. As you see, a simple cut in the opposite direction you previously cut can already give you that very smooth surface and prevent you from wasting valuable time in sanding or filing this material away. It means you can just go and quickly give it a quick brush with your sandpaper file and get the flashing off or the bits hanging over the edge, and then move on. I like to bash these projects out quite fast. You know, usually little projects like this, I'd sit down, think of what I want to do, maybe not even sketch it up, and just pick some parts out and get cracking straight away and try to get it done in that day. I tend to have so much going on, not even in life, but just in my head, got to do with projects and stuff, that I get so excited in order to do the next one, which can be my downfall sometimes. So you'll notice a few videos that go up are in parts 1, part 2, and so on. And this is purely because I have so many projects that I want to show you guys, and there's so much stuff going on at the moment. So yeah, apologies if let me know in the comments. Do you like videos going up? Would you prefer videos to go up in separate parts so you see more stuff, or would you prefer them to go up in one big video, like an hour long video or half an hour long video, but cut out an awful lot of steps and the processes of the video itself on how to make the thing? Like, it's up to yourselves. Speed it up, cut out some of these processes, or have one big long video, or break it down into little parts, into like a playlist, like a series, what I have been doing, so you can see each process, but it's not just one big long video. Just let me know, comment below, and thank you all for your input. So as you see here, we're drilling through the handlebars, the attachment part where the wheel is. And I'm squeezing a little bit firmly with my fingertips, and that's not only just to hold the piece itself, but to feel the pressure of the drill piece going into the actual plastic. So you can see I'm doing the same with my thumb here, and that's just to make sure that I'm not coming out of that side of the plastic. It's not pushing it, because when the drill piece goes in, it expands the actual plastic itself that little bit, and that can warp the material. I'm also making sure that I'm at the center point. And then we're checking our depth here with the actual drill piece itself, just making sure we're not going in too far there in order to come out the opposite side. And don't forget the little tip that we have for making flames on candles or backpacks or any type of flames you need to make. These little stringy bits that come out on the drill bit itself from the material, we can keep all these, we can push them to the side and then keep them, and I put all these in a little pile and I use them as the actual flames on candles and stuff. So at first I was thinking about using the wooden skewer to extend the handlebars, but later figured that this paper clip here would be more malleable. I'll be able to bend it to shape, file it a little bit better, and it just seemed more practical to use at the time than a wooden kebab stick. Also, quick tip, I always have multiple snips, so I have one that I will use for just anything really cutting metal. Just cut. I don't really mind getting blunt, if that makes sense, or taking the sharpness off it. Then I always have one that I use specifically for taking stuff off sprues and off kits, so the first time it's ever coming off, so I can get as clean as a line. And then I have another one that I just use on a daily basis for not like this type of stuff, not taking stuff off sprues, but just random everyday stuff while I'm hobbying. Here I'm just using this snips in order to bend the wire, the paper clip, just to the angle that I'm looking for. So I'd roughly say about another 45-degree-ish angle we're looking at here. Something along those lines. Apologies if I'm wrong, but you can see what we're going for here. It's kind of like a normal motorbike Harley Davidson kind of extended kind of handlebars. So you see now what we're going for. So as you see here, we have a bit of overhang with the metal from after we cut it. So I just need to snip a bit of that off or file some of that off before we try to fill it into the hole, because we're looking for a nice snug fit here. Now, after making sure that we have a nice smooth surface there in the connection point, we'll make sure we have a decent dosing of a decent amount of super glue here, and try to fit this in as much as we can. Hold on. You might need to use a pliers or something here just to forcefully push it in, but we'll see what we can do here. So I'm just trying to get it in and then wiggle it back and forth while pushing it inwards, just in order to get a nice firm connection point here. And then we'll just do the same thing to the other one. Making sure we have a decent amount of super glue, and then using the pliers or something similar in order to help force it in there. Now you could have drilled a bigger hole, but I didn't want too big of a hole, so basically I didn't want the chance of the handlebars moving around or being too loose. I wanted it to be a stable connection point, and if it meant it being a bit firm to put in, I didn't mind that. That's what I took. I took a firmer connection for being a bit tougher to put in than a looser connection, and it just being easier to work with. This is what you give and take these type of things when you're working with the project. So before we connect the other parts onto the extensions here, we'll super glue them onto the wheel, because it would be a very big mistake not to. So we could always fix it, but it's one of them things that you really hope you do before you do the other part, if that makes sense. I really need to learn how to speak properly. Thank you very much, everybody, for bearing with me. So as you see here, we just put them into them holes that we created, and this is what we have. So you can see now where I was going with the Harley kind of extension on the handlebars, just making it into more of a lowrider squat bike look. And then after leaving them to set and dry for a while, we can now work on, let me just snip this a little bit off here, and then we can work on other bits, so more like finer details. So here I'm just thinking about what actually can I do finer details wise, and I thought about sticking some nails in the side of the wheels in order to create the look that the book is being held down, not only with the chains, but the chains are then holding, or the nails are holding the chain down, which is then holding the book down. That was a tongue twister, even though it wasn't a tongue twister. But yeah, so I'm snipping off the tops of the nails here, the little pins, and we're sticking them, we're going to be sticking them into the chain in order to create that illusion that there is full-sized nails going straight through the chain into the tire, and that is what is holding this book on. Just little details like this, because you may overlook, like, yes, you have stuck the chain onto the wheel, but what's holding the chain on? Is there really a such thing as super glue in the 40k universe, or whatever universe we're in right now? Like, in your imagination, can you picture this person making this with super glue or some type of bonding material? I probably couldn't. So here we have used nails to simulate that look, that the chains are then holding this chaos book to the side of the wheel, and this is what is creating that bond from the chain to the wheels, not pure luck and prayers. Although the word bearers, which is the mutant bearers of fate, that's our main legion, are known to pray to the gods more than anyone else. So as you've seen there, I just got our Citadel skulls box, and I'm just sticking some skulls around the exhaust pipes here. This would give a bit more, that bit more character, and more of a wasteland kind of chaosy look to the vehicle itself. It just makes it cool, you know. When in doubt, add skulls. Who does not like skulls? Especially when having a vehicle like this, like a chaotic wasteland looking vehicle, you know, skulls always help. More glue, you know what we say, when in doubt, more glue. Just make sure that everything has a nice bond there, and you're happy with that. So this is what it looks like when it's all dried so far. So what I wanted to do is this little symbol on the side, I wanted to stick kind of like a rim around it. I don't like the way it again looks just stuck on. It looks like it is held there by pure devotion and faith. Yes, we have that in this army, but it's not that good. We need something to be able to hold that piece of material or logo or the shield or whatever you may say it is in place on that wheel, not just pure hope and prayers. So this is just a little piece of like crafting foam that I have. You can buy these in hobby shops, A4 size. I just buy them in multiple colours. They come in handy for doing little details like this, creating just little bits and bobs. They just come in quite handy. Because it's foam, it's quite malleable. So yeah. So I just cut myself a little strip like this. We could have been more precise with it, but it's Kitbashed Carnage, guys. Like, if you are still here and think that this channel is about being precise and perfect and everything else, you're wrong. This is a channel about people coming to enjoy making, creating, coming up with ideas, seeing what we can do with what we have, just seeing what we can do when we have time to do it. And having fun while we are here. That's all. That's the main thing. It's all about having fun, guys. And to me personally, being so finicky about things and precise and has to be done this way and that way isn't fun to me. You know, if I want to do it this way, let me do it that way. I'll do it this way, you know? And I say the same to you guys. Never let anyone tell you how to do what makes you feel happy. Obviously stick within the laws and what's right and wrong, but things like this, someone might say, yes, another material is better for this job, but I have this here, it's cheap, it's in my box of scraps that I have, I'll use it, it makes the same effect that I'm looking for. So we just wrap this round here, we'll leave it there to dry, and then we'll come back and cut that little tab off that's left over hanging. So the same, I noticed the same at the back there. It looked quite, so here we are here. First we're cutting off the little snip there I said, and that's just to make it. And we'll just pull this off, and that's purely just to make it look a little bit better, just for aesthetic reasons. Nothing more, but just aesthetic. May as well have somewhat pride in your work. Everyone has that little bit of pride in what they're doing. So as I was saying before that little bit of a ramble, we are going to use these other bits here to stick towards the back of the bike here. There's a little, well, not a little, it's quite a big blank canvas. So just the popsicle stick has left us just a big blank canvas here. And to create more, like there's an engine in where the exhaust is coming out of, we're just going to stick some little square, rectangular, different pieces, shapes of that foam here, just to create the look of panels, buttons, whatnot, just to break it up, give it a bit more definition, bit of contrast, instead of just a flat panel. So we're just trying to get these pieces here, if it would ever come off the thing. There we go. We're just trying to get these on. If please, thank you. We're just trying to get this on here at a certain angle that we're happy with. And once we're happy with that, we'll just add a bit more glue on top, just to make sure that they stay in that position. So, as you know, we've run out of glue. Well done. I'm never prepared. I am never prepared, guys. But lucky enough, I've been in this situation many a times. So we know how to continue to work and get glue at the exact same time. Multitasking, folks. That's what this is all about. So we'll just stick the super glue on here. And here, oh no. No. Please. No. What have we done? Oh. Alright, push that up. Alright, here we go. Bit more super glue on here now, folks. This is terribly going wrong. So make sure that has created a firm bond there, and you're happy with that. This is also the right time. Any excess material that you think you want to add on before that glue sets, I'd probably recommend adding it on now. So as you see here, I just found a little sliver, and I said that would look very nice right here. So I just put that on there, and once again it just adds to breaking up that panel, gives it a bit more definition, different angles. And please get off this thing, thank you. Stay there, and here we go. Yeah, so it just, I just noticed it looks like a face. Well, would you look at that? So next thing is this guy here. So I found this guy out of the eBay Warhammer lot that I got. Look at this, the links in the description for the playlist. So I took him out of this little mech unit. I didn't know that the box, here we go. I didn't know that it opened up. So we took him out of this, and we just made a little guy from him. So we're going to cut him in bits, take off all his limbs, and expand him a little bit more in order so he would fit on the squat bike that much bit better. And put some shoulder pads on. I have to clean out that shoulder pad with the file. And we'll just stick some bits on this guy and get him to a point that we're comfortable of the positions. We're more worried about the orientation of his limbs, not how he looks, if that makes sense. So at the end, when he's fully completed and painted, we would then add bits and bobs, details, capes, more clothing and whatnot, sculpt a bit more onto him to make it more defined, the actual character himself. So we're just sticking this arm here onto the shoulder pad and making sure we have a good connection here. And once that's done, you can then move on to the next part, which is, hold on, always make sure that your super glues are always capped, have lids on them. Last thing you want is for everything to start drying out. So we'll move on to the next part, which is decapitating them. So we're basically just trying to take off all the limbs here in order to reorientate them into the way we want them. So just making sure that we don't absolutely destroy the Mini, which doesn't seem to be possible here, because whichever way this Mini was casted, it's actually it's all one. So as you see here, we're trying to cut the arms off, but it's taking a big chunk of the torso off while we're doing it. And I was quite afraid when I seen that. I was afraid that the same thing would happen to the legs. But as you see later on, we compromise with adding more filler in to fill these gaps, so it doesn't matter too much in the end. And there goes a leg halfway across the room. Well, we're very good at flinging stuff just halfway across the hobby room. So as you see here, I'm just trying to figure out what orientation we want these limbs in, whereabouts everything's going to fit. So I'm putting the figure back together in my head and figuring out how this is going to sit on the actual bike. So here we got some green stuff. So everybody knows about green stuff, and if you don't, it's a molding material. If that's right, we'll just call that molding material. That you can get. It comes in two parts, blue and yellow, and then you mix the two of them together and you create this green stuff. There's multiple other products that you can use. This is just one of them. So I've made little balls of green stuff here, and I'm using them in order to create the contact and connection point of the limbs that I'm adding on here. So you see, I'll put the limb on, not squeezing it too hard, and then I'll put it back down on the bike, make sure that the arm is in the orientation I want it to be at, and then I'll lift it back up and fix it and readjust and keep on doing this until the model is imposed the way you want it to be. So while doing this with the arm, I actually noticed the hand itself isn't in the right orientation. So the hand is facing as if you were holding a ice pop in your hand, if that makes sense. It wasn't in the orientation as if you were holding an actual bike handlebars. So I end up cutting that hand off and reorientating it and gluing it back to the correct orientation that I wanted. So going back to when we talked about, I have different pliers for different things, different snips. So as you see, I put down my old snips and took up the newer one. And this then makes me have a better, not connection point, but it cuts a cleaner line. And it doesn't make me have as much work to do in the end, or a rougher kind of connection point and so on. So after I found the hand that flew away halfway across the room, I then stick it back on here in the correct orientation that I wanted. So this is me just trying to get that hand in the right pose we wanted it in order so it looks like it's holding the actual handlebars of the bike and not licking a lollipop or holding a gun type of thing. So now that we're happy with that orientation, you can see we're trying to push a little bit harder down on that green stuff just to create that firm bond we need now. So it's in the position we want. We're just trying to create the green stuff to make that bond with the material now and to hold it in that exact place. So using a silicone tool here, we're just trying to push the green stuff into them cracks, making sure that the two materials are now bonded together to create one. And we're not too fussed about how this looks exteriorly, if that makes any sense what I'm trying to say there, on the exterior, because later when this is primed and stuff, we'll then go make finer details, adjustments with more green stuff into the armor, and all these little crimes will be hidden with finer details and other stuff. You can always make something go back then and hide your crimes in the aftermath of it all. So as you see here, we're just trying to figure out whereabouts we want these legs to go before we just start sticking stuff on. Is the guy going to sit further back? Is he going to sit closer? Where do them hands hold the handlebars? You have to take all of this into consideration before you pose this miniature. So I could see that he is going to have very wide hips, but yeah, it doesn't matter. In this world, this is a very wide-hipped gentleman. So yeah, that's what we're going for. And again, just making sure that the green stuff has a nice bond to the material in order so later on when it dries out it creates that one piece that we're looking for instead of the two individual pieces. You want the green stuff and the new piece you're attaching on and the old pieces to all look as one piece, if that makes any. A lot of pieces were said there. So when we're happy with that, we will just grab the legs and we'll shove them in the sides here. And before we push them in harder, we will make sure that we have them in the right orientation that we're happy with here. So not too bad at the beginning, doesn't look too bad. We'll just figure out little position tweaks here, and then we will fix them into position. So that's him figured out what type of orientation we want his legs to be in. He's stuck in there. I'll just get him off. So this is what we have so far. Yes, it doesn't look pretty whatsoever, but it's the orientation of the legs that we wanted, not it to aesthetically pleasing the look of it. We will come back with files, we'll file down green stuff, we'll hide all these crimes. Everything will look better after it's been primed and done and dusted. So here you can see I'm going to just push it down a bit more and then add some super glue. So adding super glue to green stuff isn't recommended too much, but I use it as an accelerant in order to... Basically, I'm too impatient. I don't want to wait forever for this green stuff to harden. So I use the green stuff to mold and hold the material to make shapes and stuff like that. And then when I'm in a rush, I use super glue to then harden that material in the position I want it. So in this fact, I wanted this to be hardened and ready in the position I wanted it to be in, so I could go then prime it and continue on with this project and not have it sitting on a shelf for longer. That is basically the moral of the story here. I was in a rush, I didn't want to wait for the green stuff to harden, and I wanted to get this all bashed out in the one day, or try to at least. Yeah, so if you wait time, the green stuff will automatically dry into this position. So here we're just going to attach the head and make sure that you cut off the little ball there, replace that with some green stuff once again, and this is going to act as that neck joint that we wanted in order to orientate the head in any position. Now, so that's the little guy we have so far. So that's the orientation of his limbs that we want, and this is basically how he'll look until he's primed, and then come the next episode we'll have him all filed up and looking that little bit better, and be painting him and it'll be all done and dusted. So as we finish off these last little pieces, I want to thank you all once again for staying for this long and listening to me ramble on and barely understanding anything I say, because I barely understand anything I say. So thank you very much for staying this long and subscribing. And don't forget to leave your comments and any future suggestions of projects that you want to see. And thank you very much, everyone. You don't understand how much your support, your comments and your likes really do help. the algorithm, because a small channel like myself is rarely pushed in this big YouTube world. So thank you very much, everybody. If you like what you see, stay tuned for more, because I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. Leave a name in the comments for this little dude that we made. I'd love to see anyone's suggestions on what we could call him. So yeah, thank you everyone for staying tuned. I'll attach some photos of it primed. And thank you very much. Like, subscribe, and comment. See you in the next one.